Hello, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Pages, the podcast where we summarize and analyze some of the most important literary classics in the Western tradition. I'm your host, Sophia Lane, and today we'll be tackling the famous book of Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, going over the plot and themes, and discussing its current significance. So get your notebooks to take notes, or just sit back and enjoy the show. First published in 1932, Brave New World is often hailed as one of the greatest works of dystopian fiction. Its provocative exploration of a world built on technological advancements, consumerism, and the loss of individuality still resonates today, nearly a century later. So let's break it down. Set in a futuristic society governed by the principles of stability, efficiency, and happiness, Brave New World imagines a world where traditional social structures and values have been replaced by scientific and technological control. Humans are no longer born naturally, but are instead engineered in hatcheries and conditioning centers. They're sorted into a rigid caste system, from the highly intelligent alphas to the menial laborer epsilons. The highest caste, alpha pluses and alpha minuses, are genetically engineered to be intelligent, physically fit, and destined for leadership roles. They are the thinkers and leaders of society. Beta pluses and beta minuses, the second highest caste, also intelligent, but less so than alphas. They are often assigned to administrative and managerial positions. The third caste is made up of the gammas, less intelligent than alphas and betas, but still capable of performing skilled labor. They are conditioned to be content with their roles and to consume mindlessly. The deltas, the fourth caste, are even less intelligent than gammas and are primarily laborers, conditioned to be docile and obedient. And, finally, the lowest caste, the epsilons, have been genetically engineered to be dim-witted and physically weak. They are often assigned to menial labor. The story is set in the year 632 A.F., meaning after Ford. The world state has eliminated concepts like family, love, and religion, replacing them with consumerism, superficial pleasure, and mindless conformity. From birth, individuals are subjected to a rigorous process of conditioning, including sleep teaching and psychological manipulation, to instill specific values and behaviors. The world state carefully controls the breeding and conditioning of each caste to ensure that they fulfill their designated roles. By eliminating individuality and free thought, the world state ensures that its citizens are content and compliant, perpetuating a dystopian society that prioritizes stability over freedom. The book also introduces the concept of soma, a powerful drug that serves as a primary tool for social control in the world state. It's a tranquilizer and hallucinogen that induces a state of euphoria and contentment, effectively numbing people's emotions and thoughts. In the novel, it is introduced as a ubiquitous substance, consumed regularly by citizens of all castes used to alleviate stress, boredom, and negative emotions. The world state promotes soma use as a means of maintaining social stability and preventing individuals from questioning the existing order. The protagonist of the story, Bernard Marx, is a beta male who feels isolated and dissatisfied with his life in the world state. He longs for deeper connections and genuine emotions, which are considered deviant and undesirable in his society. Bernard, along with his friend Lenina Crown, a beautiful and popular woman, visit the Savage Reservation, a place where traditional ways of life still exist. On the reservation, they meet John the Savage, a young man raised by a solitary scholar who has been exposed to Shakespeare and other forbidden literature. John's upbringing starkly contrasts with the world state's values, and he becomes a symbol of individuality, emotion, and spiritual longing. In discussing their return, Bernard expresses unease about reintegrating into the rigid, controlled society of the world state. His thoughts reveal his growing desire for individuality and freedom, feelings that make him an outsider in his world. Lenina, however, does not share his reservations. She finds comfort in the familiar structure and pleasures of the world state, struggling to understand Bernard's dissatisfaction. Her perspective reflects her conditioning and the pervasive indoctrination of their society. Robert acts as a mirror to both characters. His natural, imperfect humanity starkly contrasts with the manufactured lives of Bernard and Lenina. Through their interaction, Huxley highlights the ideological gap between the controlled environment of the world state and the raw, unregulated existence in a savage reservation. When Bernard and Lenina return to the world state, they bring John and John's mother, Linda, with them. This sets off a chain reaction that challenges the stability of their society and highlights Bernard and Lenina's contrasting perspectives. Bernard initially capitalizes on the novelty of John, who is referred to as the Savage. The people of the world state are fascinated by John's unconventional upbringing and primitive ways. Bernard uses him to gain social status and popularity, enjoying a period of acceptance and influence that he had long craved. This newfound attention temporarily soothes Bernard's insecurities. Lenina, however, who remains committed to the norms of the world state, is drawn to John and attempts to seduce him. However, John's values, rooted in the Shakespearean ideals of love and chastity, cause him to reject Lenina's advances. This rejection confuses and devastates Lenina, who cannot comprehend why John does not reciprocate her affections in the manner encouraged by their society. Linda, John's mother, is treated with scorn and disgust upon her return to the world state because she is old, overweight, and no longer adheres to societal standards of beauty. She eventually succumbs to her addiction to soma, choosing to overdose rather than confront the shame and rejection she faces. Her death is a turning point for John, fueling his growing hatred for the world state. After Linda's death, John stages a public rebellion, attempting to incite the workers at a soma distribution center to reject the drug. The rebellion is swiftly quelled by the authorities, and Bernard is arrested along with John and another character named Helmholtz. Despite his minimal involvement, his association with them implicates him in the event. Bernard, John, and Helmholtz are brought before Mustafa Mond, one of the world controllers. During the meeting, Mustafa Mond engages in philosophical discussions with John and Helmholtz about the values of the world state, such as stability, happiness, and the sacrifice of individuality. Bernard, however, is overwhelmed with panic. Unlike Helmholtz, who accepts exile as a means to live a freer and more meaningful life, Bernard pleads desperately to remain in the world state. His behavior contrasts sharply with Helmholtz's dignified acceptance of his fate. Ultimately, Bernard is sentenced to exile on an island, a place reserved for nonconformists who cannot integrate into the world state's rigid social structure. These islands are populated by other like-minded individuals who have rejected societal norms, offering a measure of intellectual freedom. Bernard's exile reflects his inability to fully embrace or reject the world state. While he resents its values, he also fears losing the stability and comfort it provides. John eventually isolates himself from society, retreating to a lighthouse. However, even there, he cannot escape the world state's intrusion. Overwhelmed by his despair and the public's relentless fascination, in a tragic climax, John is driven to suicide. His death symbolizes the ultimate failure of his attempt to challenge the world state and the triumph of a society that prioritizes stability and happiness over individual freedom and genuine human experience. This climax highlights the novel's central theme of the conflict between individual freedom and societal control. John's tragic end serves as a stark warning about the dangers of a society that sacrifices individuality and authentic human experience for the sake of stability and pleasure. Huxley's novel is packed with themes that provoke reflection and debate. Let's explore a few key ones. 1. The cost of stability. The world state prioritizes societal stability above all else, but at what cost? Individual freedom, creativity, and emotional depth are sacrificed in favor of conformity and consumerism. This theme challenges us to consider the trade-offs between order and individuality. 2. The dangers of technological control. Huxley presents a world where science is used not to liberate humanity, but to control it. From genetic engineering to psychological conditioning, technology becomes a tool for oppression. In an era of rapid technological advancement, this warning feels particularly prescient. 3. The pursuit of happiness. The citizens of the world state are conditioned to seek pleasure and avoid pain at all costs. Soma, the state-sanctioned drug, keeps everyone content, but this manufactured happiness raises questions about the nature of true fulfillment. 4. The role of art and religion. In the world state, art, religion, and philosophy are considered dangerous because they provoke thought and emotion. Through John's love of Shakespeare, Huxley highlights the enduring power of art to challenge and inspire. Now, why does Brave New World continue to captivate readers today? Part of its enduring power lies in how eerily prophetic it feels. While it's easy to point to Orwell's 1984 as a warning against totalitarianism, Huxley's vision is a critique of a society seduced by comfort and convenience. Consider our current world, the rise of consumer culture, the prevalence of mood-altering medications, and the increasing influence of technology on our lives. Social media, for instance, often feels like a modern form of conditioning, shaping our behaviors and preferences in ways we might not even realize. And while technological advancements have brought incredible benefits, they've also raised ethical concerns, from genetic engineering to surveillance. Huxley's work also speaks to the fragility of individuality in a world driven by mass conformity. The pressure to fit in, to follow trends, and to prioritize material success over personal growth feels all too familiar. As we reflect on Brave New World, it's important to remember that Huxley wasn't just offering a bleak vision of the future. He was challenging us to think critically about the direction of our society. What kind of world do we want to create? How do we balance progress with humanity? And most importantly, what does it mean to be truly free? If you haven't read Brave New World yet, I highly encourage you to pick it up. And if you have, maybe it's time for a reread. Each visit to Huxley's world reveals new layers of insight and raises new questions. That's all for today's episode of Beyond the Pages. Thank you for joining me on this journey through Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with your fellow book lovers. And don't forget to follow us on social media for updates and discussions. Until next time, keep reading, keep questioning, and keep exploring. Bye for now.